Hey, welcome back. TechBilly83 here. It's the morning, the following day. Slightly different filming schedule here because I've got a slightly different work schedule. I'm working overnight for a cutover for a customer. So this is what we call flex time. Alright, so let's get into it. We got the brain box, or the motherboard, the controller, whatever the hell we want to call it. We got that installed back into the transfer switch here, or the transfer switch enclosure, and that's all connected back up. We've got the I don't want to say newer, but well, I mean it's new to the project, but the Kohler gen set that sat in the barn for a long time. You can see all the dust on it. All right, so there's the wiring junction box that was on the old Briggs & Stratton. So you may recall that just whack my head on that. You may recall that junction box was on top of the alternator over there on that guy. That's the old generator for this project. The alternator done crapped itself, so that's the end of that guy. Well, I mean, the motor is still good, so I don't know if I'll ever find another alternator to put on there, and maybe I'll just turn that into a portable unit or something. But at any rate, this is the guy we're working with now. So as of last night, you may recall that we smoked some of the wires on the motherboard in the transfer switch trying to start this thing, and I had suspected that it was because of the size difference in the solenoids between that generator and this one. And you may notice the solenoid that's on the side of the starter motor there, where that red wire is, that little black thingy. Identical one here that we're using as a intermediary. And you may notice the size of the solenoid on this motor. So, quite the difference. And that's what I think we did when we smoked the wiring and the controller board is, that solenoid is obviously magnitudes of order larger, and when it gets the juice, it sucks it down way harder. So, yeah. So here's what we got going on with the secondary solenoid, or the intermediate solenoid, or the booster solenoid, or whatever we're going to call it. We got battery right there. It was charging overnight. That other red wire that's coming around here and going in there, that's just to feed the transfer switch controller positive 12 volts. Over here we have our battery supply. So this is positive 12 volts, comes onto this stud, and that's where the energy needs to go to actually fire the solenoid, and then it goes through the solenoid and into the starter motor. It's called the Bendix. Goes into the starter motor, turns the motor, and away it goes. Cranks the motor. So I created another cable here, another wire that goes to one of the studs. So we go into one of the studs, which this is our high side of this solenoid / relay. And when the transfer switch controller triggers the low side and fires the electromagnet in there inside the solenoid and bridges the two studs, energy will then flow from the other stud. It comes in on the left, comes out on the right, and then it comes down this cable, which apparently I didn't crimp well enough. Holy moly. What the hell? What the frig? Well, looks like we're not done. I thought we were ready to start this thing up. Oh my god, 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Jeez. Alright, so let me see if I can one hand all the stuff here, the camera and this and that. What the heck? That's freaking annoying. Get off of there. Alright, so apparently I just didn't, I mean, it's a ratcheting crimper. I mean, it's like, it's not a stupid ass crimper. Alright, let me get you there. Oh my god. So I'm going to try and reuse this, but I have a feeling that we're just going to see, this is also what you get when you're using, made in China wire that technically ain't to the right gauge. I mean, it says it's 10 gauge wire, but you know how things go nowadays. This wire identifies as, probably 16 gauge. So I'm going to actually crimp it on the other side and just really send it. Yeah, that should be all right. Jesus. All right, get down there. Okay, so, whoop, grabbing the phone the wrong way here. So coming out of the battery supply, we're using this stud as just a connector, but that's where the motor is getting its voltage. Then we're coming that way to our baby solenoid, coming out the other side of the baby solenoid and into this wire. And then this black wire here, that's coming from the transfer switch controller. This other, that wire there just happens to be the ground on this solenoid. It doesn't ground through the body of the solenoid itself. It's got its own separate wire for ground. And that's what I'm using that bolt on the side of the block right there for. So that's serving as a ground point for the solenoid here, and also the propane valve up here. So that's what that black wire is down there. This is coming off the charging circuit and going to the transfer switch. This blue wire here is the oil pressure sensor for the fault relay inside the wiring junction box there. So if the oil pressure sensor were to trip, it would trip this wire, which would turn the relay off and cut fuel to the motor. This motor does not have an oil pressure sensor. So it's got a light on the front. So actually, you know what? If it's got a light on the front, that does mean that it has a pressure sensor somewhere. I just haven't found it on the block yet. It's probably hidden away. They squirreled it away under a cover and made it ridiculously hard to get to and or replace. This connector here was the carburetor solenoid on the Briggs & Stratton. You'll see up there under the air box, that little white box there, that's the other side of that. So we don't need that. But that is energized when the engine is running. So, and then this was the cooling fan in the old enclosure. This red guy here is our positive 12 volts going to the fuel solenoid. So at this point, we should be good to go. This is just a ground that I had hooked up for troubleshooting. And I am using the dipstick, the oil dipstick, to route the fuel line. Because why not? You know, it fits. So at this point, we should be ready to fire this thing up. Sort of. Actually, it's not going to fire because made in China. Yeah, baby. So last night, as I was stumbling around in the dark, I tripped over the fuel line, and then the tank kind of fell on the ground. And you'll notice there the brass fitting snapped off right inside the high pressure regulator. Yeah, all the quality. That's what I'm talking about. So that's probably like $40 down the drain unless I can find another one of these fittings at Tractor Supply for cheaper. But I got a feeling I'm just gonna have to buy a whole new freaking regulator, because why would we make this of the level of quality that would guarantee that when you're having a barbecue at your house and some random person comes zipping through, like maybe a child playing a game or chasing a toy or something, and they were to trip over this propane line and rip it right the frig off, and then you have high pressure unregulated gas spewing out of the tank. I mean, luckily I had the thing turned off last night. but you know what I mean. Quality. Yeah. Where was this thing made again? Does it say? Does it say on here where it was made? Oh, I bet you if it was made in China, it wouldn't have broken. Thank you, Bill Clinton. Bastard. Alright, so moment of truth here. We're gonna see if this thing will actually crank. We know it's not gonna run, but we're gonna see if it's gonna crank. So I'm gonna put down my shades here because they are the Harbor Freight sunglasses that are also ANSI rated, so they are ballistic. Well, I mean they're safety glasses, so they're also impact resistant, we'll say. All right, here we go. Pretty sure that was supposed to do something. Is it because I got the old switchy switch here to set to off and not auto? Yes. Let's see if that makes a difference. Yeah, buddy. So that's what the issue was. We smoked the thing because the thing was too big. Alright, and then that was 3 tries. The first try didn't count because I didn't have the off auto manual switch in the right position. Alright, so once I solve the fuel delivery problem, then we'll be able to actually test this thing. So this guy has a monster 50 amp connector on the side. This box here with all the outlets also holds the capacitor for the self-regulation of the alternator, voltage regulation, which, I'm a super fan of capacitor regulated alternator heads. It would be nice to get a generator that had an actual AVR, but down the road. So what I did here is I kind of made a slightly better way to connect the electricity. So I've got a 50 amp outdoor plug or a receptacle here, and I brought that into a terminal block as our ground, our hot, neutral, hot telemetry wires for the thing here. So I do have a big monster cord that I'm gonna just connect from here to there, because I've also got one of them 50 amp connectors over on my 200 amp transfer switch. I don't know if we can see it there. See if I can zoom in here. So there's the main transfer switch, and you'll see that little gray box under there between the roll bar and the seat and the trailer hitch, trailer ball. That's the same one of them little 50 amp connectors. So the idea being is if the diesel failed, I'd be able to, roll this monster out of the barn, fire it up, and connect it into the transfer switch, and away we go. And I also have, other generators, that are smaller. I have a 4K and a 7K that are gasoline that, I've got cables created that have the 50 amp end, but, they've got like the 30 amp twist lock that goes on those smaller units. So that's about it. As soon as I get this thing here, we're gonna fire it up for real. So you will see another video today. Hopefully Tractor Supply has another one of those in stock. I swear to God. Ugh. All right, TechBilly83, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you again later today. Toodles.